Thank you. As most of you know, on Saturday morning, December 13th, reports began to emerge that Immigration and Customs enforcement officers had convened at 1560 Avienda Parkway, where the construction of new townhomes continues as part of the Avienda Development Project, a project that this City Council and previous councils know all too well. I immediately knew I had a responsibility to represent the residents of Chanhassen, to observe and understand the situation that was occurring right here in our city. I layered up quickly as I could and was in the process of running out the door when all of a sudden I stopped in my tracks. And in that moment, I experienced a feeling that I have never personally experienced before in my entire life. I'm an American. I'm an elected official. I'm about to drive 5 miles from my home to observe a federal operation, and I felt compelled to grab my passport. Not because I thought I might actually use it, but because the situation just feels outside of our normal checks and balances. It was confusing. The feeling was ridiculous. It was overwhelming. It still is. And common sense is why I'm here tonight. To be clear, I'm not so blindly optimistic as to believe we can change the world and solve our problems with some actions from the city of Chanhassen. But here's what I do believe. I believe in legal immigration. My late father immigrated legally to the United States from the Netherlands in the 1950s. Legal immigration has made America stronger, and we should continue to welcome those who follow our laws. I believe that illegal immigration is illegal, and that border security and immigration enforcement are necessary functions of the federal government. People who enter illegally or overstay their visas should face consequences. I believe in our first responders, the people that put themselves in harm's way to protect us, and I believe specifically in the Carver County Sheriff's Office and Lieutenant Stan, who I know had my back on Saturday. They're trained professionals who are dedicated to upholding the laws we've created and do so with transparency, dignity, and respect for human life. They also operate with warrants, with judicial oversight, with accountability, exactly as our Constitution requires. And finally, I believe that all law enforcement, whether local, state, or federal, must operate with transparency, accountability, and respect for constitutional rights. When federal agents arrive in our community without coordination with local law enforcement, without visible identification, without warrants or judicial oversight, they create a situation where constitutional rights could be violated, where innocent people could be caught up in enforcement actions, and where our local officers are put in an impossible position. This isn't about whether ICE should do their job. It's about ensuring they do it in a way that respects our Constitution and coordinates with local authorities. Which brings me back to my passport. Why did I feel compelled to bring my passport to observe what was happening in my own city? Because when law enforcement operates without clear identification, without coordination with local authorities, and without visible legal documentation, any American should be concerned. It doesn't matter if your father was an immigrant like mine, or if your family has been here for generations. When the checks and balances we rely on disappear, when we can't verify who these masked agents are or what legal authority they're operating under, everyone's constitutional rights are at risk. Now, I know people will inevitably say, well, Councilman von Oven, if you're all about common sense, then common sense would tell you that 2 men evading ICE by clinging to a frozen rooftop are probably illegal immigrants. Maybe. Or maybe they're construction workers who know very little English and are skeptical of a group of masked, armed individuals Or maybe this group of masked individuals were on their way to a completely legal operation in another city, and while passing through Chanhassen, saw two brown guys on a roof. Which brings me to my point. Maybe is not good enough. Our democracy is not based on maybe, but rather on burdens of proof, transparency, and checks and balances. Maybe is not the standard our Constitution demands. And if you ask me whether I'm willing to do whatever I can to protect and defend the constitutional rights of the residents of Chanhassen, the answer is not maybe, it's hell yes.